What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Crypto for You. My name's Tony, and today I'm talking about Bitcoin because a lot of people are confused about what Bitcoin's going to do in the midterm. Because while Bitcoin is inside of the predicted bull flag that we are all looking forward, that's going to take us up to $87,000 in the midterm, the question is, are we going to go up to the top and break out right now, or are we going to have some kind of reversal once again? And so I want to clear up the confusion about that in this video and just give you guys a really simple outlook on what Bitcoin's going to do in the short term, the midterm, and the long term. Starting with the long term. Everybody knows this, but let me just quickly touch up on it. On the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin, after going all the way up to 73,000, is now inside of a bull flag. It's inside of this pattern, and we're just crashing down, bouncing around from the top, going down to the bottom, and we all know that once we break out, the next big target is 87,000, with a global outlook for this bull flag, not bull market, at $109,000. So that's the next level after $87,000. But of course, everybody's big target is $150,000 and more. But that's not what we're talking about today. Because in order for this bull flag to go to 87,000, or in order for Bitcoin to pump up to 87,000, it has to break out of the bull flag. And for that to happen, we have to have a price higher than this line. And so, how does that happen? We go up. What is Bitcoin doing right now? It's going up. But why are people confused? People are confused because Bitcoin, while it was bouncing around before going to the top, tapping the bottom like we usually do, it went up to the top, tapped down to the bottom, and then it went up to the around the halfway point of the bull market, fell down to not even reaching the bottom, so it didn't tap the top, didn't tap the bottom, and now we're back over here and stopping again. So people are wondering, is Bitcoin ignoring its bull flag on the bigger time frame and making a smaller one? Is it making a smaller channel on the inside of the bull flag? That's what people are saying. But one thing you gotta know is that 2 points do not make a line. You have to have three just to make sure that it's a trend. And while we do have something on this side, we don't really have a strong connection point with three lines right here. And while this could be a channel on the short term, all this is just a holding pattern for Bitcoin for a short term. It can bounce around for a while. We do not know the exact dates when it could bounce out, but it will break out eventually. But I'm not going to tell you guys, sit here and tell you guys that, oh, I don't know what's going to happen and when Bitcoin's going to break out, because we have something that's going to happen. We have a possibility that could happen. If I go on the smaller time frame, on the 1 hourly time frame, there is some patterns. There are some indicators that show what Bitcoin's about to do. Because number one, Bitcoin's in the ascending channel. And while that is bearish, usually what Bitcoin does is it keeps staying inside of it until the top, until it reaches the orange line right here. And once it does that, that's when the crash happens. And so, while we don't know when Bitcoin's going to break out of this pattern, we know that Bitcoin usually stays and goes up to the top to fulfill its pattern. But you might say, oh, we never tapped the bottom. But this crash right here, I do not think that it's its own separate crash. It's linked to this first crash. I believe because what happens? What happens after you tap the bottom? You go up. You go up to the top at a bull market, in a bull flag. And so, what's the last thing we tapped? We tapped the bottom. And so we are in a bullish trend right now. We made a higher high, and then we fell down and we stopped higher than the previous high. Automatically, this is a bullish trend. We just stopped here for a certain point. If we break $65,000, automatically it shows that we're in a bullish trend and we're going up to 68. So in the midterm, we wait to 65. But that's not my point right now. My point is that this whole thing is a bullish trend, even though it may seem more like a double top and we're about to fall down. And I want to show that with a Fibonacci retracement, because what usually happens is in a bullish trend like this, it's a three-wave move, with the second wave being calculated dump, which you can calculate with the Fibonacci retracement. Usually, these types of corrections take us down to 0.5 to 0.618. This one in particular took it down to 0.786. But the interesting thing is that it was exactly 0.786, so it's still a calculated crash. And what's interesting is that we stayed down there for so little that it's a wick if you go on a bigger time frame. So we stayed at the biggest level inside of this big golden pocket. We just had an extra crash and then an instant recovery. And so this theoretically is still just a correction, just the second wave, and now we're completing the third wave and we're going to go up to the top. So the trend states that our next trajectory is at $67,000. But for that to happen, we got to go even smaller because what did I say? I said we have to break 65K. And what's interesting is that I actually had these three lines in a live stream that I did when the FOMC meeting was happening. And I predicted, because Bitcoin at that moment was at $60,000, that Bitcoin would be going to 65,000. It was this bull flag right over here that took us up to the first target, breaking past the first target, taking us all the way up to 63,500, the second target. And we had this wick that took us almost to this level at 65K. Now, what about lower term? This small term, we're at the 1 hourly time frame. How do we break above 65K? How do we get up to here? That's what we need to know. Well, we're in an ascending channel. It's both this huge one and this smaller one. And this leads me to two conclusions that Bitcoin's going to do in the short term that can lead it to go upwards. There is some bearish things that could happen, which I will talk about, but most likely the outcome is bullish because think about this. We're bouncing around top, taps the bottom, top, that bottom. Same thing, but opposite. What's the last thing that Bitcoin did? It tapped the top, which means theoretically, in the short term, we're bearish and we got to tap the bottom. We got to tap some support. We got to recover. And what's the support level? Well, the 200 1 hour moving average, a random moving average, but it's down over here at $61,000, really close to the bottom. And usually we do fall down and we tap the $61,000 moving average in a bull trend before continuing with our momentum to the upside. And that usually happens when we go too far away and we stay too far away from the bullish, from the moving average. And so, while our trajectory in the short term is down, we could sit out and wait. We don't necessarily need to fall down to tap this level. Even though theoretically Bitcoin's at 63,000 and this line's at 61,000, that's not that big of a correction. We could instantly have a flash crash, fall 2%. That will 100% be enough. That's a possibility. Possibility number one, Bitcoin does a flash crash and then instantly retraces. And now it's at a bullish momentum and has enough bullish momentum because it tapped the bottom. What's next? It taps the top. And this thing, if it touches the top, takes us all the way up to around $69,000 if we just go up fast enough. And so, right now, what Bitcoin needs to do to get some momentum is to tap this 201 hour moving average, is to tap this bottom of this ascending channel. Because once we do that, once we hold through tapping the 200-day moving average, 201 hour moving average, is we're going to have enough bullish momentum to get us all the way past 65 and up to 68. Now, I said there was a second outcome, and that's the fact that we're in an ascending moving channel on the smaller time frame, right over here on the 1 hourly. And this smaller channel inside of this bigger ascending channel could just mean that what Bitcoin's doing is bouncing around inside of an even tinier holding pattern, bouncing around support resistance until we just happen to tap the moving average, having to tap the bottom of this channel right over here. And this channel, when this channel intersects with this channel, the date is Friday, September 27, 9 a.m. PST, Pacific. So we got a couple days. It's Monday, Friday, 5 days theoretically. So either we go up right now in the next couple days and we're just going to be bouncing around inside of this pattern. We have a crash, and then this is exactly when this happens and we break out. Or we have a 2% crash before we go up and we go up back to this level. Of course, technically, when we tap the bottom of these types of ascending channels, there always is the chance that we break out. And where do we go when we break out? We go back down to the bottom because that's the target of these channels. We go to the bottom line, or at least 75% down to this level. And 75% down is, let's just calculate it, this far, down to 55,000. So instead of breaking 65, possible target for Bitcoin is to fall all the way down to $55,000. And that's if we manage to fail the support down here. And I believe that Bitcoin is way too bullish after the FOMC meeting and the reaction that caused it to go up this far. I think that all Bitcoin's waiting for is for us to go sideways, tap the support, and go up and break 65K give people the strength, and we reach 68K. And that's when the real test starts. Because if we don't break $68,000, then what could happen could be pretty bad in the midterm. Because while the midterm is going on, we always have a global outcome, which is long term break out of the bull market, 90,000, 100,000, and the global 150K thousand plus target for Bitcoin's bull market. Easily gonna happen. We just gotta break out of the bull flag first. And that's the quick outlook for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you did, leave a like down below. Subscribe for my next video. Don't miss it. I'll see you guys then. Bye.